This is what he actually said about rape and women and responsibility and all that. Can we listen to that, please?
I'd like to take this time and explain what I was saying in long format video about a girl. I was having an argument with a feminist, and she was saying that we need to teach men not to rape. And I said, my dear, I love how idealistic you are, but I am realistic. Men are already taught not to rape. She's like, no, we need to go and change language at school and rewrite history and do all the shit they're trying to do to make men weak because they think that weak men don't rape, which is another argument I want to come back to because weak men are the most dangerous men on the planet. Let's talk about that later. But I said, no, people already understand that rape is wrong. Unfortunately, human nature, some people don't care about doing wrong things. We should teach people not to steal, but they still steal. Would you agree that everyone says don't steal? The Bible says don't steal. The Quran says don't steal. Schools say don't steal. Everyone says don't steal. People still steal. So if I were to take $1 million in cash and walk down the street at night in the worst part of town holding it, to a degree, I would have some responsibility. When I got robbed, the police would come and say, why did you do that? People would say, Andrew, why did you do that? You have to protect yourself from things. You can't just rely on the ideological hope that other people in the world are going to be perfect and infallible or that the law is going to prevent it. You have to say, no, I can't walk through the ghetto at 2 a.m. with $1 million in cash. I take personal responsibility. She agreed. I said, then by extension, would you agree that the smartest thing a woman can do to prevent rape is not to sit here on a podcast and try and change the way men think and talk about your bullshit, but to take some degree of personal responsibility and not put yourself in dangerous situations? I'm not saying that's going to prevent all rape. I'm not saying that rape is okay. Rapists should be executed. I'm not saying that every single woman who was ever assaulted could have prevented it. I'm not saying any of that. I'm saying the smartest thing a woman can do is say, this is dangerous. Going home with this guy I just met is dangerous. Walking through this area by myself is dangerous. Let me call a taxi. Let me call my brother. Let me go with my husband. Isn't that a more intelligent way to teach women to prevent themselves from being raped, as opposed to telling them you can do whatever you want, walk around in the middle of the night naked, it's no problem. Men shouldn't rape, men are the problem. I said, what you're trying to do is illogical. What I'm trying to say will actually prevent rape. So what you're saying, when you're telling girls, do whatever you want, men are the problem, you're convincing women to put themselves in situations where bad things might happen to them. Whereas I'm saying, listen, women and men, look after yourselves. I'm a full-grown man, 4-time kickboxing world champion. There's places I don't go alone. Like I came here with security. That's called being an intelligent adult. So this is what I was trying to say. I was trying to say women need to protect themselves and bear some responsibility to make sure they don't put themselves in situations where bad things can happen to them easily.
Okay, so there you have it. So this isn't an first of all, he's right. This isn't an anti-woman message. This is a pro-personal responsibility message, and the left can't. That just jolts their brain. That makes them uncomfortable. And what he's saying here is right. He outright says, I'm not condoning rape. He says rapists should be executed. He's saying that if you, and I've said this to women all the time, you have to take some responsibility for the fact that you can't control outside situations. You can't control if a guy is walking down the street who seeks to do harm to you. You can't control any of that. All you can control is what you put out there. So you have to, not that you're going to be responsible for somebody else's bad behavior toward you, but you have to make smart decisions. And I love this because it's like, again, these liberals infantilize women. They infantilize them. It's like, don't worry, honey, do whatever you want. Walk down the street naked. If somebody comes at you, like it's nonsense. No, the message to women should be just be aware of what's really going on, right? There are dangers out there. There are dangers. There are dangerous people. So just know that, and don't walk down the street half naked down a dark alley with a bunch of weirdos around. Don't walk down the street there at all. Don't walk down the street there at all. But especially don't do it half naked, right? There has to be some just common sense. This isn't about, and he even says it's about women and men and himself. So it's a risk assessment conversation. It's not a conversation that's anti-women. He's talking about risk assessment, personal responsibility, being aware of your surroundings, and making smart choices. Okay, that's all. Does that sound like a guy that's saying women are partly to blame for their own rape? That just doesn't sound like that to me. If you want to watch the full episode, click right here. And if you want to ask me a question, talk one-on-one, send me a FaceTime video, join a video with a group of your friends and me, you got to download Connect and you got to join me there. It's going to be really hot.